I am a man in my 40s. My wife Emily and our daughter Sarah live with me in a 2-story house outside of town. I run my own business, which keeps me busy most of the time, but I try to prioritize my family. My best friend, Michael, lives next door with his wife Lisa and 2 children, Ethan and Jessica. Michael and I have been friends for over 20 years, sharing countless youthful memories and supporting each other through life's ups and downs. Our children have practically grown up together, but as we've gotten older, our meetings have become less frequent, which makes today's event even more special. Today marks a milestone in Jessica's life, her 23rd birthday. We planned a small but heartfelt celebration, gathering in Michael's spacious backyard. Michael and I grilled barbecue while Emily and Lisa busied themselves setting the table with lots of delicious food. Laughter and conversation filled the air, but amidst the cheerful atmosphere, I couldn't help but notice that Jessica seemed quieter than usual. The smile never left her eyes, and she often looked pensive. Eventually, I learned the reason for her subdued mood. Her fiancé Eric was away on a business trip and could not attend the party with her. It was obvious that his absence was weighing on her, casting a shadow over what should have been a joyous occasion. As evening fell, the yard lit up with the soft glow of garlands, creating a cozy and festive atmosphere. Emily and Sarah decided to head home early, leaving me to enjoy a few moments with Michael. We sipped beers together, reminiscing about old times and sharing updates on our lives. Eventually, the party started to wind down and I realized it was time for me to leave too. As I was about to leave, I remembered that the envelope containing Jessica's birthday present was still in my jacket pocket. I decided to give it to her before I headed home. Quietly, I walked back into the house and up the stairs to Jessica's room. The door was slightly ajar and I knocked gently, but there was no answer. Reluctantly, but anxiously, I peeked inside. Jessica was lying on the bed, face pressed into the pillow. I heard the faint sounds of muffled sobs, and my heart clenched at the sight of her distress. Holding the envelope in my hands, I hesitated for a moment before stepping closer. I gently touched her shoulder and asked, "Jessica, are you okay?" She flinched slightly and turned to face me, her tear-drenched face reflecting sadness and vulnerability. "I'm not okay," she admitted, her voice trembling and fresh tears welling up in her eyes. Her pain was palpable, and I felt a deep desire to comfort her. It wasn't hard to guess that her emotions were caused by the absence of her fiancé, but the intensity of her sadness took me by surprise. Hoping to comfort her in some way, I crouched on the edge of her bed and gently stroked her shoulder. "It's normal to feel this way," I said softly. "Sometimes it's hard to celebrate when someone you care about isn't around." My words seemed to reach her, and her sobs began to subside. She raised her eyes to me, full of gratitude and hope. Without warning, Jessica leaned over and hugged me tightly. "Thank you for being here," she whispered, her voice barely audible. I pulled her against me for a brief moment, hoping my presence would bring comfort. But then, to my amazement, she pulled away slightly and looked into my eyes. Her face was only a few inches from mine, and before I could react, she leaned in to kiss me. Caught off guard, I stood up abruptly, creating a safe distance between us. "Jessica, this isn't right," I stammered, trying to comprehend what had just happened. Her eyes filled with despair, and she asked quietly, "Please, I won't tell anyone. I just feel so alone." She sat back down on the bed, her shoulders slumped and her expression wistful. Torn between a sense of responsibility and the tension of the moment, I sank down beside her. Carefully lifting her chin, I looked into her tear-filled eyes. In a moment of weakness that I still can't understand, I kissed her cheek. Almost immediately, regret overwhelmed me. I tried to pull away, but Jessica pressed herself against me, her grip firm and unyielding. After a few tense moments, I managed to pull myself together. With trembling hands, I buttoned my shirt and hurried out of the room, my mind a whirlwind of guilt and shame. Returning home that night, I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, and all my thoughts were consumed by what had happened. Jessica had kept her promise, and no one would ever know what had happened. And yet the burden of my actions weighed on me. Facing Emily's loving gaze and Michael's unwavering friendship had become a daily struggle, and guilt threatened to destroy the life I'd worked so hard to build.